Awesome. Let's get this started. So, for posterity's sake, I'm sure there'll be a recording or some clips of this to work with later. So I've decided to do this mainly to motivate myself to just do some stuff for me amidst all of the work um, that I have going, and other things, right? And all my other interests. So, in short, that is kind of where I'm at with this. So, um, hop in the chat. I'm happy, like, ask me questions. I'm happy to chat, have conversations. I'm pretty good at multitasking. So, I'm just going to, I have a lot of um, ideas for this and ideas for the work I'd like to do on here. Primarily, um, I don't quite. I mean, a big part of what I want to do here is actually learn how to use all this nonsense. Because I don't quite yet know it. Let's see. Don't show again. I can give subscriptions. I think it's a little too early for that. I'm gonna dismiss that. Cool. So yes. Good to see you too, Dire Drakes. So yes, awesome to see you. Um, yes. So yeah. So I have other plans that will be kind of like kind of kind of actual artwork and things like this that I would like to spend some time working on over a course of a few of these. But today I just want to experiment with a little bit of techniques, some software I haven't used in a bit. Just get this party started. It took me a while to get this going. I initially tried to do it in the evenings, but that was hard for me. So maybe now it'll be easier, or maybe it won't. We'll see. So hit me up. I probably today we're just gonna work on a portrait from my go-to when I would like to just draw a portrait, which is Earth's World. Those of you who uh, who know me know I'm kind of about this. So this will be an hour or so. So let's get started. I picked some people who I liked, and I'm going to yeah. So I'm working in Rebel, which I enjoy using, and I don't often have the opportunity to because that's not kind of the software we use for work. So cool. Yes, and I'm happy to do some narration as I am doing this. I don't know exactly which techniques here I plan to use, but probably I'll do this a few times where we'll kind of just explore the software, and then I would like to do something a little bit more elaborate and more complicated. That might be, that might take me a little bit longer to do. Besides strong fundamentals, what would you say is really important to transition from figurative art to the game industry? I would say strong fundamentals are, of course, the most important thing, probably because that will help with learning a bunch of stuff you have to learn that, frankly, doesn't really go away. There's always more stuff to learn because it's very technological. It has to be. So you end up having to kind of catch up constantly, right? Like, and so I would say the strong fundamentals are key, but not just fundamentals from an artistic standpoint, but to spend some time to get kind of a fundamental understanding of the tools you will be using, and you will be of the tools you will be using in the digital realm, if you will. So sculpting and all of that. modeling to some degree, all of that stuff becomes key. No, I don't want that. It becomes key, right? Like you have to sort of just feel more or less comfortable, so that you have that's the fundamental understanding you have to then build upon it when you see that some of the tools are changing. That's how I would like. I would probably have not answered that. Like that is coming from more of my recent experience, where you realize something that you um kind of had an idea about just even like a year ago, but maybe you didn't use the tools that like in something that you were working on most recently. Then you do end up sort of like, I think the technique part is something that stays with you forever. The and the kind of the fundamental understanding stays with you forever, but you do I at least I sort of tend to not remember certain like specific techniques, like how like what keys you have to hit. Like you end up having to review that relatively often. I find, especially if you're not doing something every like all of the time. But because if but regardless, you are able to catch up on that very quickly if you have those fundamentals, both from an artistic standpoint as well as from the standpoint of the techniques themselves, the digital, techniques themselves, because everything has its own fundamental technique at the end of the day. We're not only talking about some like anatomy or whatnot. All right, so maybe I start painting. I don't know how yet. I think maybe for today we use sort of the Rebel watercolor engine, which I like. I know that they've recently done some really cool updates for their oil painting engine as well. I don't quite want to use that today. Maybe next week we'll do another one where we can play around with that a little bit more. Um, but I might introduce it on top of the watercolor afterwards. Maybe kind of like I would with traditional media if I start with watercolor and then add something like painting in gouache afterwards. So now I'm just, doing more than I need maybe with this like patching. But hey, if it comes out to be something resembling mixed media, if you will, I'm fine with that too. I might even go in and refine a few things. Or should I? I don't know. I don't know. I have no plan. I have no plan at all, which is fine. It's fine for the first time around. If any of you were around when we did Portrait Party Club, that was the last time I did something of the kind. I mean, I do my online, like my classes online for NMA and things like that, but those are not open to the public in this kind of a way, right? They're not just out, and it's usually within the confines of some sort of class or some sort of a specific thing that I'm teaching. But right now I am not doing that, and I feel like I can just ramble away while I sketch this guy. And what happens happens, I'm kind of hoping I'll have some that are just awful, right? That I just cannot complete for some reason, that don't come together. I think that will be quite good and humbling for me. Let's see. All right. Okay. 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 Cool. Let's see. Um, I think this is long enough for some kind of a sketch, possibly. I'm sure we can make adjustments, but let's add a layer and let's do some painting. Now, I hope this will be fine. I hope this will be totally cool in terms of the bit rate and stuff, because I'm a little concerned. Um, um, yes, because I'm both recording and painting on this software, which actually eats up a lot of my computer's memory. So we'll see. This might be a disaster. Let's try it. Yes, Casper. Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure we can talk later, though, right? You can. But I'm glad you're hanging out in chat. I finally decided to do this. Let's see. You can also tilt all this, right? So I can really imitate kind of the way that I tend to. Oh, look at that! That's awful. That's just awful. Whoa. Okay. Don't want that. No, 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 no. I can kind of control it, I think. Okay. Interesting. 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 Now it's not doing that. Oh, all right. Okay, it's fine. Mm, all right. Yeah, so it's cool how it moves around a bit. I'm kind of into it. We'll see where it goes. And you can keep adjusting the the transparency as well. We'll see. I wonder though, as I'm losing everything underneath, which is what happens when you're working traditionally, right? So I shouldn't be too surprised. But what if I just switch it to like multiply? Cool. Then I can see what I'm doing. I'm not showing you the reference. So I will see about that in the future. I might make some changes. We'll see. The it's the same time zone? No. I mean, you are hours ahead of me in Russia right now. I mean, it might still be convenient in terms of time, but no, 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 no. Okay, interesting. Not so bad so far. I'm not totally upset yet at what I have made here. It's not that much, but the key is to not look at the other screen where I can see it like all small, where I see all my errors. The key is to just lie to myself about my errors as I'm working on this, and that should be the way to go. But yes, I will. I have some ideas of how to like kind of improve the quality of the whole like image and all of that stuff here, which I will be looking into over the course of the week, so that I will kind of as I keep doing these, I hope to change at least a some kind of a some kind of a some kind of some kind of aspect of the UI a bit, so that it looks a little bit more professional, I guess. And I'm sure I'll get a bit more comfortable in this. Oh yes, and I will be calling this ills with painting skills. Cool. So for my background, I have no clue. I will just put something down. And then we can begin refining. I recently kind of I was thinking about how right, like there's no time for anything. So I end up like um moving things along maybe a little bit quicker than is preferable, right? Like I sort of end up working at a kind of greater speed to the detriment of the artwork itself, right? Like a lot of it is sort of kind of challenging to time your own your own kind of like execution of a piece, and everything is quick. It's everything is sort of a sketch. But I recently have tried to kind of combat this by just taking as much time as I need, which can still be relatively quick, but just drastically improves the quality, right? Like I think this is not something that I will be thinking about while working on this sort of early like a block in, if you will, what I'm doing now. But I might soonish, right? Like maybe, probably today, I will get into something like this. I was an idea I had was to kind of combine this sketching with some of like my other interests. So like it depends on the thing that I sketch. That like so I consume a fair amount of politics and stuff. So it could be cool to kind of to talk about it while illustrating it in some form or other, or just like interests or the things that I happen to be looking into or reading about or any of that stuff. So that could be a cool thing. Obviously, what I'm doing right now doesn't have anything to do with this. This is just me enjoying painting for you know for the first time in a bit for myself, because there isn't anything like doing things publicly that will motivate you. So yeah, I think this is a relatively good time for me to do this every week. So this is my Saturdays during um kind of a slightly afternoon, right at 1 o'clock. But I do want to do this maybe some evenings during the week as well. So I will see about how that turns out. Okay. Let's get in there a little bit. Maybe not completely opaque, but only partially. I don't know about the multiply thing. I'm not sure that'll work because I already have color on this thing. So we will see. I can't guarantee it. And maybe in the time that I have, I can just do it kind of one detail at a time, you know? The thing they tell you not to do. The thing I tell people not to do, I guess. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'll try it next week. I'll try it with the oil a little bit more. Nope. Okay, cool. I should probably move this whole eye, but we'll get there eventually. What is my mindset when I'm working on hair? Oh Lord. Oh God. Ugh. Well, I'm not currently. In this case, it's actually quite easy, right? Because his hair is just sort of a block, right? Like a block of color, if you will. Or I would I actually have a whole. I did a thing. I looked into it. That's what I wanted. I looked into hair for a while because I was. It was just interesting. And I even I taught a whole hair thing. That was 8 weeks long on hair alone. Where I got into a lot of interesting sort of details that I did not really know until I kind of started preparing for the class, which was quite interesting. But I think of primarily, though, if I simplify it to what I really need to think about, is the edge of the hair against the skin and the environment, and the just the overall contours of it, right? Like, what is the if it makes if it's creating a shape that's interesting or not, is the thing that I care about more than anything else. And then once the shape is made, then the edges of it. I mean, like, depending on the complexity of the hair, you can start thinking about something more like in a sense anatomical when it comes to hair, right? Like where it originates, what is the direction of the of the hair, as it kind of exits the head. Is that how you say it? Um, yeah, something like that. You can think about this if that's particularly obvious and you want to accent it in some capacity. Um, a lot of it you can clearly just you don't need to know in advance. You can just um, observe it, and it's right there in front of you. Um, so that's a cool. That's kind of everything that you really need to think about. Really, I'm gonna combine these two layers. Is that gonna work? Let's see. Whoa, whoa. Is that why? I think so. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I combine them. Nope. Can I combine all of this? I probably can. Let's multiply this as well. Nope. Multiply layer. Combine. There we go. Nice. One layer. Fantastic. That's not good. I don't like that. I don't like that either. Nope. Not combining anything. We will make adjustments later. Can I multiply? Yeah, that's bad. That's better. That's better. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't like where some of the placement of things are, so I will have to move this later. I don't think I can move multiple layers at once. So yeah, I'll get to the hair, I think. In this case, it's quite simple. So now I've sort of switched to a technique that's maybe a little bit closer to like a gouache, right? Like it's a lot more opaque. I'm just gonna go with it. See how it looks. See how it comes together. Let's continue and let's get some more stuff happening on the face. Yeah, so I don't want to. Yeah, so I wouldn't overthink the hair too much. I think it should be um, right. Like allow it to sort of make something interesting happen on the page. A lot more than like don't concern yourself a ton with accuracy. I'll see how far I get in this. Actually, maybe there's a chance I will not complete this to my liking, and I can do it next week. That could be a good time. This is apparently how you add the water. And the cool thing is that you can stop that at any time. So if you kind of keep your eye on it, you can get some cool effects. Cool. Interesting. Maybe a little too chromatic. Okay. I wonder, can we just smooth some things? I think we can. That's a nicer way to get a soft edge. Okay. Let's see. Where can I take this at this point? I feel like I'm just early on. I can keep just doing the usual thing. Just refining as I go. I'm also kind of interested in seeing if there's anything improvisational that comes out of this. Because you end up over time, especially if you maybe don't have as much time to kind of continue a particular aspect of your practice, or you're kind of focusing on something else, then you end up it's actually not that bad for improvisation because you get out of your habits a bit, and then things just happen in some ways that you don't anticipate, which I'm kind of hoping for in this entire process. Hoping for something like that to occur. I'm not going for anything uh, specifically academic. It might happen for the same reason, but who knows? But who knows? I don't know about this. It sort of exists in the reference image. Um, there's a blue of some kind. That's relatively intense. I'm gonna place it. We'll see where it goes. Maybe it'll influence something else. Mm-hmm. Any plans on dropping something new on New Masters Academy? Except for the live classes, which I'm currently, but like I do every once in a while, I guess. Not any recorded content, but like as in me going over there to record. There are no plans for that at the moment, but there's a ton of content that I have recorded that is part of their live classes. So it's me pretty much here doing a very similar thing to what I'm doing now, except that it's more educational in that regard, which is not necessarily bad. And in a way, like I got the idea in part to do what I'm doing today and to try to do this because I sort of enjoyed it. Like I got like it seemed like there was a casual kind of component to it that I liked. Oh, um, that I liked, and I thought, why not just interact with? Will I share the reference photo and the video of this stream? The reference photo you can find on Earthswell. That is true. So maybe I'll share it. I'll see how it goes. I don't know. I think probably I'll just include it in the whole in everything I'm, in the UI, how you call it, in the like the interface of what's happening here. I will probably include it in the future. I think I haven't today, but I will in the future. So but will there be a recording? Yes, there is going to be a recording. I mean, there is currently a recording happening, which I'll probably put on YouTube. So for anybody who would like to watch this at a different time, and if there's anything interesting, I'll probably cut some clips out. I'll post a time lapse of what I'm working on today as well, because I am recording a time lapse at the same time. So there's a lot of recording happening. It's it's interesting because you don't really paint here the same way I would do it in, say, like in in Photoshop. I'm finding it slightly like in a way it's a bit slower, or like I'm sure I can, and a part of it is maybe I'm just not as comfortable with the medium itself. Um, so it kind of like, and in a way it's slower in the way that for me traditional media is slower, right? Where there's a, a certain kind of a build up that is a little bit more careful. I'm not just like and I kind of care more about the what things look like as I'm placing them, which I am not that interested in when I'm working digitally in something like like Photoshop, for example. But I think the cool thing here is that I can use a lot of different techniques, and we can switch things up here uh, every time as well. If I'm doing, let's say, some other thing, I'm happy to make myself somewhat uncomfortable while while working in public, because then I have to try to make it work for myself and not like abandon it, which is a great motivator. Hmm. I think the real like the practice is gonna come in when I have to like talk the entire time. So I do. I'm sure I have the, the dead air periodically. For which I apologize. But I will. I'm sure that'll get easier, especially as like there's potentially a large amount of people in chat and having conversations that I can be just a part of in some ways. Then I could just multitask. Cool, cool. I like that being removed. It's looking. That's something I would recommend to if you are sketching things out, which is also something I wouldn't. I don't sketch. Oh no. I don't sketch before I paint usually. So I did, though I do if I'm painting in, let's say, in watercolor, like I'm technically doing here. Um, so that's if you are doing that, I do like the ability to keep that on a layer separate from everything else, and then you just remove it eventually, or leave it if you think it looks good. Also a possibility. Thank you. But something that I would like to try is to do some kind of like do some slightly more elaborate multi-figurative compositional kind of ideas that I've had, that I've jotted, but have not had the time to work on. So it could be a longer painting with multiple complicated components and sketching it out, composing. That could be super fun to watch. Is this the digital or traditional, or are you asking if the multi-figurative stuff will be digital or traditional? At the moment, I think it'll be. At the moment, I think. I mean, the goal. I mean, even before I started to like, I made the kind of a switch to teaching digital media over COVID. I did start to use um, these techniques to kind of to plan out compositions, um, which was more just me kind of using photography and combining it to just like it's sketching from that. That was cool. I enjoyed all that, and I thought it was very helpful. And I realized sort of the potential of it all, which of course, I mean, there's everyone already knew the potential of it all except for me. But that was that was cool. So I will possibly continue to do that. But even here, I think you can take it even to a greater extreme, right? Where you can technically paint the whole thing digitally and then recreate it traditionally if you so want to, right? I have had that interest for a while because I think there's something in how you make that switch that will be quite exciting. How you make the how you create the how you recreate it with a traditional medium, even if you're doing it in something like Rebel that's sort of trying to do it as well. Obviously, this is not even close to when you're holding actual, paint in your hands. Not that you should be holding paint in your hands, but you know what I mean. On a brush. So now I'm going in with some stuff that's a little bit more opaque. This eye is nothing even close to what it should be. Improvised goat. Yes, hello. It is I, Ilya. Ills with the painting skills. You know what? I think I can move this, right? I can move this thing. This color thing. Nice. That's so much better. And then I don't have to move my hand as much. Okay, cool. Yes, that's the whole thing. I'm just an yes. You won't know. And possibly, I mean, I bet you they could make a pretty good AI of me already. I've recorded enough online content that if somebody would want to, I'm not sure. I no one would really want to. Is the thing, which is good. I'm okay with that. So yeah, so that would be whoa. Sorry guys, that's my crazy desktop. My apologies. It's not as bad. Some of you yeah, I'm sure Joshua was investing into a deep AI of me. Yes, I think he's got other projects. Uh, so okay, okay. I'm not like so upset by this. Not yet. It's getting there. It's getting there. So yeah, so I think multi-figurative kind of multi-figurative compositions could be very interesting to do and to work on because they take time and they are kind of hard to motivate yourself in the process, to keep working on them for so long, especially when you have other obligations, right? So and we all know what it's like to have other obligations. Now, I also need to figure out how I keep an eye on this, like the kind of quality of the stream itself. Um, in the sense of like, there's a lot of options that are offered on Twitch that I don't quite know how to use yet. Because I have like I can see it happening in one place, and then I can see it happening in multiple places at the same time, and I don't know what they mean and which one I should really use. So I'm expecting that to also be a thing that I will get better at as I learn more about this. Because even when we did Portrait Party Club, for any of you who saw it, it was not on Twitch but on YouTube, where it was um, where it's sort of just easier, I think. And maybe I'm wrong again in trying this on Twitch. I don't know. I don't. I'm not so sure yet. Um, there's like a certain amount of hours that this has to happen for any kind of I don't know, perks or whatnot. I don't really. I didn't quite research this as much as maybe I should have, or maybe the fact that I'm doing it is what will motivate me to actually do that research. Is what I'm hoping. I'm more concerned in just like hanging out and doing this. I've been at it for almost an hour. Look at that. That's not so bad. Yeah, I might just continue with this guy next week. And you know what? It doesn't really need an end. And as I get sort of maybe just a little bit more comfortable just being on here for maybe for longer periods of time, it'll be easier to just knock these out. But in the meantime, yeah, I'll play it by ear. I'm happy to complete one, start another right away at the same time. Like there's no like this is just ongoing, right? Like I could just keep at it until I've I kind of have it in place. And I kind of expect. I guess the whole idea here is that you can just keep me on while you're working on something of your own. Glad the stream quality is good. I tested this out yesterday and I had some. It told me I had some issues, but I don't think they were that bad. Oh, yes. Hey Tom. Yes, it was you. Cool. Mm, I don't know what this stuff is. Fine. Hey Megan, thank you for coming. I miss you too. Portugal was awesome. We'll do other events as well. So if you have the time, and it would be awesome if you'd come to them. But yes. Oh, whoa, 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 hold on. I pressed something and everything got kind of weird. Let's see. Oh, I just copied the layer. I see. Let's remove that. Good. Cool. See, this is also cool because like you get to kind of see some people who hop in that you haven't seen in a long time. And even if I don't actually see you guys, but it's nice to hear from you. So it's interesting that I didn't actually intend this, and this guy doesn't really look like this, but I'm sure I'll make him look more like himself as I go on. But he does have a Saddam Hussein vibes, and I don't know what how they kind of happened. It was not my intention. Uh, Will I be doing this weekly? I'm hoping to. Yes, I'm hoping to to do this weekly on the regular, and then possibly like I'd like to do it at the time I'm doing it now. That seems to be pretty good, and I have the capacity to pull this off in terms of just my head is properly functioning. But I think also as soon as I just get a little bit more kind of comfortable with this as a medium, I'd like to do this some evening during the week as well. So once on Saturdays and once closer to 8 p.m. my time during the week would be nice. I'm going to try it. I'm going to kind of not jump into it all the way so I don't like kind of overcommit, burn out, and then just not be able to keep it going. I'd like to keep this going. So that'll be. I should do a different Saddam Hussein each week. Should next week be an actual Saddam Hussein? I'm fine with that. It'll be like kind of a. That's all I'll do. I'll just do different people from world politics, both both problematic and not. That'll kind of add the historical element. The political element I wanted to add earlier. I'm fine with that. I think that's kind of cool. Agreed. Who isn't problematic in politics? 100%. I have to kind of elongate our man here a little bit. He is he is a little squished, I think. But I think I can do kind of in his entirety. Let's try. Image size. What if I just like stretch him out without having to make any other adjustments? Nice. Okay, cool. I'll take it. Yeah, I think I could. Yeah, that's a cool idea. He will hopefully become himself, this guy, but we'll see where it takes us. This gouache thing is looking. Yes, but I think this could be a good time to do this every week. And also, I saw I looked at some of the art stuff on Twitch, and maybe I just don't like. That's the research I did kind of do slightly, and maybe I just don't know enough. But I didn't see anything that sort of was that interesting, right? Like I think people kind of sketch a lot and do some sort of a kind of a more kind of cartooning, kind of comic-y kind of a thing, and this is not me. I'm not. There's no judgment here, but it was not kind of the thing that I tend to do or the thing that I want to do, right? So, um, hmm, totally. Thank you for coming. And yes, I'll be around, so I will make sure to notify everybody on Instagram of when I tend to log on, to hop on the Twitch stream, or however that is properly said. Hmm. Well, that ear does need some work, and there's a lot there that could be quite good. Um, yeah, like it is, isn't it? Gotta. There is like this illustration comic anime kind of a thing, which I mean, maybe there's more on other platforms, right? Like maybe there's more on. I do gotta go out and see you in Colorado. That is true. There is maybe YouTube is more of the place for that in some ways, but even that, right? Like it's all just like at that point it becomes like kind of educational content again, and I'm happy to answer those questions without a doubt. But I feel like I just want to just kind of hang out a little and do a little bit of this kind of thing. Yes, I think you are correct, right? Like it is there is a divide though, right? Like there is this divide of the digital and digital slash traditional artist, which is interesting. I've switched to something insane here. I don't even know what I'm. Okay, here we go. Now I'm back on the tools I want. Um, yeah, I like. Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, right? Like it's part of the problem that traditional artists aren't working digitally, but also I'm not seeing too many digital artists um, kind of approach this in that kind of a way as well, right? Like they seem to want to hide their approach or like immediately commodify it, right? Like into I guess I'm also commodifying it here, right? Like it's sort of the whole idea of the platform, but I'm not like really, you know, I'm sort of using this as more of an accountability tool. At least currently. I know what I want. Okay, so how does this look now? Let's see. That's cool. I'm always a fan of this. I was more correct here, actually. He sort of expanded in the wrong places. I wonder if I can, at this point, combine all of this and see how it looks. Let me, I should save this maybe, right? Save as, let's see, I'll save this. Um, cool. And let's see if I can combine all this. I'm a little bit insane. Can you use hard pencils for shadows in here? Or you mean like in general? I can merge it. Look at that. Nice. Um, cool. Now I can do my crazy thing with my liquify tools. Can I use hard pencils for shadows? In general, you can use anything you want for anything. I know that's a very unsatisfying answer. But you're kind of asking about a stylistic thing. You might not totally realize it's a question that pertains to. Uh, oh, there we go. There we go. There he is. There he's coming together. Um, yeah, it's a question that pertains slightly more to what effect you want. There are some problems with using hard pencils for shadows on paper that doesn't receive them as well as it could. Like that's an issue. Probably like you wouldn't want to use hard pencils on something like paper that's you know, cheap or too, you know, pulpy in kind of a way. Like that is kind of a question of its of just like the response you get like from the application of the medium itself. But I would say in terms of using it to get the value you want, then you just have to calibrate the rest of the values, and that's it. You're good to go. You know. Okay. Cool. So now, why don't we do some mixed media stuff, right? Like, why don't we? Now we can use some like oily things as an experiment. Let's try. Hold on. There's this option here that allows you to see it. I forgot what it was. Rulers, assets, volume, visual settings. I wish I knew. Volume presets. Is that it? No. Window. Visual settings. Yeah. Where you can actually you could you could play with the height maps and things. Oh, it's all on. Try to like it's got a little bit more of that kind of oily thing. Let's see. Maybe I'll keep it. Maybe I won't. I'm doing this on a separate layer. We'll see where it goes. What grade of pencils do I use? I've always been like, you know, a few B, you know, 2B, two, you know, slightly more than that, slightly softer than that. I mean, um, I'm not like, I mean, in a more academic kind of approach, that would be closer to what I use. If I'm sketching, then it could be all of it, you know. Then I play it by ear. Oh no, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. There we go. Yeah, so I would just, yeah, I would say don't get too caught up in all that. It won't. It's not really the answer, if you will, to a lot of the questions. However, that's not to say you shouldn't experiment with different media by any stretch. You should experiment with different mediums. I never know. I'm kind of like into some of the stuff happening here. Kind of. Not like all the way, but yeah, some of the way. Um, bristle round. Let's try. No, no, maybe a little bit. Let's see. I was not particularly pure with this technique, I think. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's fine. That works. Nope. Switch back to the watercolor. Why not? That's a crazy brush. I don't like that either. Fine. We'll make adjustments later. Let's see. So yeah, I think an hour is not that bad. 8 viewers, which is still kind of awesome. I still have 8 viewers, which is great. I'm I was expecting to be here alone, so I really appreciate you guys being here. That's awesome for me. And yeah, I promise that you know I'll just keep at it, and we'll see where it goes. I'm sure they'll become more entertaining as we go. What do we got? We got from few saturation stuff. No. I'll drop the opacity a little bit. Let's see. And let's add a new layer. Yeah, so I am slightly uncomfortable in this technique, which is very interesting because I just don't always know what all of these things, what effects they're gonna have, and like when exactly do I like how it allows me any refinement or anything else. We will see. I think I have certain, and hey, I mean, if this moves along, like maybe yeah, this is something to complete, or maybe it's something to abandon, and go from there. We will see how I feel about this. What is Russian sauce? It's a type of medium. It was popular at the academy. I mean, it's used in the academy. I don't know how popular it really is, but it's basically just a water soluble, like a water soluble, oily pastel kind of. Just like yeah, that's what it is. That's the best way I can use to describe it, right? So it's not a pastel in in the way that a pastel is in fact water soluble, but not oily, right? I don't quite know how that's achieved. I don't know how that's achieved, but that's what it is. And you can kind of play around with its application. You can dilute it a bit. You can, yeah, you can dilute it. You can apply it in all these different kinds of of ways you kind of combine it with other media. Um, I think you could get it online. It might be a little bit harder nowadays, but there are some importers and stuff if you really want to give it a shot. I don't think it's that necessary. I personally did not use it a ton in school. It was not kind of a medium I was super attracted to. It usually, I mean, I actually, I mean, afterwards I used it specifically for um, I like its ability to it gives you some ability to work without a lot of contrast. It's not typically how it's used because it's so intense. It creates a lot of contrast. I am more of a fan when you don't actually use it in a very like in a way that kind of establishes all that contrast. So because it comes in all different colors and stuff. So depending on how you combine it and all that can be kind of how you you know, make it your own, if you will. Okay, okay. Something's coming together, which I'm not totally opposed to. We're gonna need to do a little bit of the background too. I'm not feeling this really all the way. Make this opaque, knock it back, maybe. Okay. All right, all right, all right. In the original, I think he's sort of a little more hunched, which I like. So we can raise all this up a little bit. Maybe even do some sort of outlining things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that it can be cool to kind of do a kind of a refinement pass next week, where I can zoom into a few things. It might go faster than I'm anticipating even, but that could be interesting. And then jump on to the next one, which would be yes, some other Saddam Hussein. Hmm. We'll see about that. Hmm. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, I think that could work. But yes, I would do the one I'm doing afterwards entirely in the oil engine here. So I would say, I mean, maybe just do a couple of these more techniquey ones where I just get a handle on this medium a little bit. Something I've been meaning to do for a long time, in part kind of how I wanted to use this opportunity to do this live, right? Like I can spend that time working on getting accustomed to a medium, working out an idea, etc. You know, that's sort of the goal that I have set for myself. Let me just do a couple of. There is actually a kind of a more digital hard, like you can do stuff with a round brush, which I might want to do just a little bit. This I would do as a multiply layer. Nice. Okay. Um, let's refine that eye a little bit, and let's save this too, because that's not looking any. That's not looking good. All right. Are there masks here? There are. Amazing. Fantastic. All right, cool. Let's see. Nope. I want, I want the liner brush. And I want to just outline some stuff. Now I can work on these eyes properly, as in work both of them at the same time. Uh, yeah, I think in the future, right? Like depending on what I'm trying to do. Like as an example, here, like if I'm trying to maybe kind of get a handle on someone else's technique, I'm not doing that here right now, but that is something I sometimes want to do, right? Like by imitating it or doing a copy of some kind. Um, that could be just like I can have it up as sort of like a prompt, if you will. I think that this is what I'll be working on, and have like the examples around that I would like to imitate and things. That could be interesting. I will see about that. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Um, I don't actually mean to flip it. I don't. I know people use that as a technique. I don't ever use that. I just accidentally keep hitting it. Actually, I mean to stop the paint from doing its watercolor thing. Actually, I'm here. I don't. I kind of don't mind these sort of like more outliney kind of approaches here. A part of it is because they sort of integrate, right? Like because of the way the paint kind of goes into the paper, right? Like kind of it responds to the texture of the paper and things like this. It gives you a little bit of an opportunity to kind of leave that line, right? Like it doesn't feel so mechanical, which I like here. That's kind of cool. Now I don't know if this eye is any good because I haven't kind of zoomed out. I've been only focusing on the one thing. But I am using this more opaque application, and you can back to the previous thing, right? Like you can constantly pause the paint thing, but I think you can just turn it off for a while, right? Like pause diffusion. What is that? The water is removed, but the layer remains wet. Oh, so F. F is nice. Okay, cool. I'll try that. Cool. That's fairly interesting. Well, thank you so much for the kind words, Pink Cotton Kitty. I don't always intend for something like that to happen. I just kind of I mean, it probably could be a little bit more contained, right? But like that's not really my personality, so it comes out in this way. But there is something in the software too, right? Like this particular software um, allows the result to look more like something I would potentially, do in on paper. Okay, okay. Sort of it's falling apart, but it's a little more accurate. Uh, so that's cool. Um, so let's just stop that for now and move on to the other one. F. Cool. If I hit F, then that should do it. Other eyes calling me a little bit. This is annoying though. I have to like wrap this up a little bit. Okay. Cool. Um, yeah, I think there's like a general kind of color adjustment that needs to happen, but we will arrive at that later. That could be something for Photoshop potentially. The hell am I doing? I don't know. That is nuts. Not good. Let's see. Let's try like this. I need to like harden all that just a bit. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Whatever. Let's see. Whoa. Keep doing that. Oh my god. Look at all these cool techniques. I just keep hitting all the wrong keys. Shift D. Okay. Yeah, let's get some refinement. All right, dude. Thank you for coming. See you next time. I will be here. Yeah, I can't imagine any, like this would be kind of a crazy like if kind of like other people who are on Twitch, right? Like who are just on it all the time. Like this is what they do for a job, I guess. This seems something to get used to, right? Not that that's my plan. But you're just here. But yeah, I guess you can get a lot of painting done if you're making an art. Okay, 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 cool. There's some structural stuff here. I'm just gonna hatch away. I'll be why not? Why not hatch? Paintings with hatches are cool and maybe uh underrated. Mm-hmm. Let's see. How are we doing? Cool. All right, so I am finding that yeah, this is sort of a challenging part of this that requires me to concentrate. So this is an interesting thing to keep in mind for the future for myself, right? Like if I am doing this live, um, this part will probably get a little bit easier as it comes and goes because there is I don't know. Thank you guys for remaining here and hanging out with me because I find yeah my own attention issues would have a harder time with me not talking. I need to be constantly entertained. I like something that's happening here where it's kind of coming together, uh, despite my own intentions a little bit, which is interesting because yeah. It has a quality of this other artist who worked in tempera a lot, Golovin. If you want, you guys can look him up. He did a lot of like really theatrical portraits, and he worked as an artist in he would design the um, the costumes and stuff and the environments in horror plays, and he worked a lot in tempera, and he has this sort of like he hatches a lot. He the way he refines even when working in paint has a quality that's a little bit more graphic, and that's what's happening here. I didn't totally intend for that to be the case, but I'm also not opposed to it. Not opposed to it at all, and maybe we'll keep going with it. Maybe that'll be how this one comes together, and the next one I can try for a more oily thing. Okay, cool. Mm-mm. Nope. All right. Okay. I'm thinking this isn't the worst place to stop. Um, so I might just do that, regroup, um, and continue with this next week and just wrap it up next week. I think that could work and begin something else, begin a new one. And then we can kind of have something a little bit more continuous that moves from one show to the other, right? That kind of allows that to happen. If that works, it works. If not, we'll adjust the format. I'm open to all kinds of adjustments. Why not? I have no plans. But I also kind of this is also probably can't stop a little bit. But it's okay. I'll get there after I add something specific in the hair. Yeah, I mean, I do want a certain softness that, like at the same time, which is hard to get. But now we're getting a little bit too technical, maybe. Or maybe that's what this is about. I don't know. It's me trying to figure out what I want from this medium. Okay, I said I'm gonna go, so I probably should go. Otherwise, I mean, I could just hang out for as long as it happens. But there's just a couple of small things I would like to do. Okay. All right. My God. Okay. Cool. Thank you, guys. One thing. This right here is too light, right? We can just knock it back. That's better. All right. Cool. I will think about this. I might call it. This might be everything I wanted out of this, or we'll keep going slightly. Regardless, you can join me. I will keep everyone posted on when this is happening. In the meantime, it is currently scheduled for Saturdays, my time, 1 p.m. So same time as today. So thank you for so yeah, so I appreciate that for you guys coming. And yeah, I might see you during the week. I might not, but next Saturday for sure. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out with me, watching me paint, and hopefully I'll see you back here. Bye, everybody. Thanks again.